This is Talk the Devils, the athletic show dedicated to Manchester United. Coming up today, super sub Sesko does it again down in Everton at the Hill Dickinson on Monday night to record yet another win for Michael Carrick's Manchester United into the top four after 5 wins from his first 6 matches in charge. And the Reds now 10 unbeaten as well. We'll get into every detail of that victory on Monday night. We're here in the studio in Manchester. Andy's here, Carl's here, Laurie's here as well. Oh, a little wave, Laurie, that's nice.
Yeah, welcome the viewers to our studio where all 4 of us are here.
All 4 of us are here. We were all there last night. Us 3 were working. You definitely weren't.
What do you mean? I was working.
Were you?
No, I was not. I was in the away end and it was a glorious occasion. Oh, what fun it is to see United win away.
Yeah, we've had a few accounts of Laurie's day out, haven't we, Andy?
I was getting updates
Yeah.
right throughout the night. In fact, into the early hours in Liverpool.
Oh, God.
People saying, I think your mate Laurie Whitwell is in this named bar in Liverpool singing Zombie by the Cranberries, and I just write, it will be him. Then I'm getting photos sent him of him leaving the ground on someone's shoulders looking triumphant. I think he really, really, really enjoyed his first, and Manchester United's first visit to Everton's new ground. I think we all did.
Well, you did especially. I mean, the excitement in your eyes, sat at a table with Gary Neville chatting.
How early did you get there?
With Carl as well. Before the game was a sight to behold.
Thank you. I got there 5 hours before the game.
5 hours.
I'm actually really annoyed that you were there because I would love to come into this podcast today and you be the only one that wasn't there and you wouldn't have done the 92 clubs.
I know.
There was someone else as well, wasn't there, who'd done 91?
Yeah, Oliver Holt, the journalist.
Ollie Holt,
yeah.
that's who it was, yeah. Who'd also done the 92 previously, but
Yeah.
it had been voided because of moving to Hill Dickinson. So.
Yeah. This happens every year. Like, I had to go to Bromley this year. Well, I didn't have to.
No, yeah.
You did. Something inside you.
You're not talking to the wife now, Andy, to be honest. Yeah.
But my wife has got no idea I even do this. She
can
just
imagine.
thinks like
What,
I'm in
a football
London for
journalist?
work. She knows that I'm a football
right,
journalist,
okay.
but she's no idea that I went to Barnet by myself last January as an insurance policy because I thought they were coming up and that would just tick it off. She just thought I was in London
There
for
you
work.
go.
There we
I
go.
love that. So you're thinking steps ahead.
Yeah, like I'm a bit
It's like a
worried.
chess
that
game, this, isn't it? for
York
you?
might come up, and I've not been to York's new ground, so I'm hoping at Rochdale or Carlisle, and I keep me 92.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not
these
inside
are
your
the-
head, Andy.
no,
These
I'm
are the
sorry.
things that Andy considers. Yeah, can you confirm that you were on someone's shoulders? Paul got in touch, said good 3 points from a below par performance. We'll get into that in a moment. But Maguire Lammens, absolutely outstanding. Highlight of the night was seeing Laurie carried out from the stadium on someone's shoulders. So forget Sesko or Lammens being the heroes of Hill Dickinson.
I just got a bit giddy, didn't I? You know how we're all talking about not getting carried away?
You got
I
carried
literally
away.
got carried away.
What time did you get home?
Listen, let's not talk about that.
How did you get home? You got a bus there,
Yes.
and
Go on.
and did you get the bus back to Manchester?
He
'Cause
he got a taxi back. There's no
you
way
got a
he
taxi
got
from
bus.
Liverpool back to Manchester.
We might have accidentally missed the bus.
How much is a taxi back?
Accidentally.
Listen, it wasn't too expensive. It was worth it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, away end, United are winning. Everyone's happy. There were songs being sung. I'm just amazed. I'm thankful. I'm not sure the listeners and viewers will be thankful, but that my voice is holding out. I'm probably going to let you
I'm not
guys
thankful. I'm gonna
dissect the
feel
match
like-
tactically.
I'm going to feel like we're going to have to referee this as we go on, to be fair. Let's talk about the game because it was a brilliant win, Carl. Not in terms of the performance, not in terms of the quality of the win, but it just felt like an important one with Villa dropping points, Chelsea dropping points, and even having that draw after the run of wins to just put that to bed and go straight back to winning matches felt like a moment for Michael Carrick and the team.
Yeah, that means the West Ham draw is a little speed bump rather than a setback. 13 days between the 2 matches felt like an international break, yeah, and you sort of relearn everything. First half, unfortunately, was a little bit too similar to London Stadium, but the fact they just second half rolled up the sleeves, grinding it out.
Yeah.
That's encouraging. And okay, yeah, I know there is some onlookers, some neutrals, some people that are maybe 2 or 3 steps outside of Manchester United going, you can't win a Premier League title doing this. Whereas I think people in the away end are going, we can talk about winning titles and other stuff for later.
Arsenal are doing it like this.
Well,
Well,
a little bit.
if they end up winning the title, but this is almost their blueprint,
Just
really,
slogging
grinding
it out.
yeah.
I think what you're getting now is the first team, the starting lineup's becoming clear. The roles that these players have are becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. You can have a game now where if Casemiro or Bruno Fernandes have an off day, someone else can go, all right, don't worry, I can compensate for it. And again, you've got 2 or 3 performers now where you just feel safe. The ball is going to one penalty area, and you're like, I'm not worried about this pass going awry because it's Brian and Boomer making the pass. Or in the other direction, the crosses are coming in and you're going, I'm not too worried if Everton are flinging in crosses because I've got Harry Maguire and I've got Senne Lammens doing stuff. So, bit of normality, bit of competency, and then you just go straight on.
Let's talk about Benjamin Sesko. Yeah. It seems like the right place to start our dive into the detail. What a goal.
What a goal. First time finish. And he said, we spoke to him after the game, he said it might have looked easy, but it wasn't easy. He's prolific, and it's a long time since I've used that word with a Manchester United striker.
You think so? Yeah, prolific.
Not throughout the season, but in this calendar year so far.
Well, in this moment, unquestionably, yeah. 6 in 7.
And most non-penalty goals this season. Yeah. This year, sorry, 2026.
And of the 7, only 2 were starts. So if you're looking at his per minutes ratio, he's absolutely prolific, and I will die on that hill and hope, Benjamin, just stay prolific, otherwise I'm going to make a right idiot out of myself when you finish the season on 8 goals or whatever. It's great to see. I don't know what you felt, Carl, afterwards in the mix zone, but he comes across as a grounded young man. I've seen some players whose egos are all over the place. And
no, not him.
No.
Not him. There's a growing, emerging confidence and assuredness to what he's doing, but there's no sign of arrogance at the minute or like you say, the ego getting out of control. And
the variety of goals is impressive. He's coming on, he's impacting games. He had 32 minutes last night, which is significantly more. There was a groundswell before the game, will he start, will he not, which is a legitimate
Talk about that
point.
In a minute. I think it's still an interesting debating point, that,
But the goal came from the free signings in the summer. That pass from Cunha to Mbeumo, who I didn't actually think was playing well. I don't think it was a good game.
I don't think anyone played well in the attacking positions over the 90 minutes. They dug in and ground it out, but it didn't come freely, did it?
No. And then lovely movement. There'd been a few good attacks, but the final ball was really poor for both teams. Yeah. Both teams were better off the ball. And then he puts it in and he goes towards the away end, and Lloris stood on in Catalonia they have them human pyramids. Well, he suddenly found himself at the top dancing on, living the moment of his life. And I was a little bit envious, if I'm honest, of everybody.
I have to say, the safe standing situation, obviously they've got them at Old Trafford, Hill Dickinson now, it's a great way to watch a football match.
Did it go mental when he scored? Because from our side of the pitch, by the dugouts, looking across there, limbs.
It was limbs. And do you know what? We were talking about this before we started recording, weren't we, Carl, in terms of counter-attack goals and the kind of particular psychological impact that they can have. But because you could see it happening, I was like, give it him. And you could tell that it was a goal coming.
Well, he'd made a 70-yard sprint to get on it. It was the fastest anyone had been all night,
Tarkowski, I mean, okay, not saying he's the quickest player, but he absolutely blitzed him, didn't he? I mean, that pass from Cunha was superb as well. And Mbeumo paces it right, balance, and
you think 5 minutes earlier they get the breakaway wrong. So it's Cunha and Sesko going for it, and Cunha going give it, and then he sort of trips, doesn't give to Sesko, sort of trips and falls over, and you're going, is that the one chance? Are we going back to sort of the old annoying United? On the Rammer and under Ten Hag, where the final ball isn't coming, and you're like, okay, we're going to draw this game, it's going to be annoying. And then 4 minutes later, you've got that just incredible ball from Cunha, the pace that Sesko's put on there, the afterburners is amazing, but also the fact he sort of measures his acceleration when he knows Mbeumo's got the ball, and he's changed his run, he's angled that run.
The ball from Mbeumo allowed him to do that without blinking, which was such an important aspect to the goal as well.
Yes, so in the mix zone, I talked to him about the fact that the goal was a first-time finish. And when you're in the mix zone, obviously it's 4 or 5 journalists all at once. You all got your phones in his face, and he's sort of talking, and I go, the first-time finish, and he sort of swings around, and his face starts beaming, which that's like a proper striker's recognition. Like, yeah, it's good, isn't it? And the fact that he talks about how it looks easy, but it's not, and yes, absolutely. How many times have we watched a Man United player, the ball's come in and you're going, do it, and they're leaning back and the ball goes off target, or they don't get the bend on it right, and you're going, for the love of, and it's always a thing where people go, you're meant to be an international football player, you've been paid so much wages, why can't you do this thing? And Sesko's bang on in that sometimes when you have that 3 or 4 seconds as the ball is coming into you and you can see your name in bright lights and you're like, oh, I'm going to get headlines, and then you spoon it and you're like, I am the worst football player of all time.
Pickford's good in that situation as well. I mean, he showed that a few moments later where he just rushed out straight to him and made him decide even quicker, and obviously he made the save that time, so it's a lovely finish. Before you two reveal everything he said in the mix zone, let's hear from him. Here's a sample of Carl and Andy and others chat with Sesko after the game.
Everyone believes in me. They are getting me ready to get as soon as possible from the start when I'm going to be ready. But it's more about me showing up when it's important, and no matter how many minutes I'm focusing on delivering and trying to help the team to secure the wins. For me, the way I look at the pressure, it's like, if I want to be a good player, that's what I have to have. So I take it as a privilege. It's something that it has to be if you want to play in the highest level. And it's about to accept it and not really care about it.
That's now 16 points out of 18 under Michael Carrick. What's the mood like among the players?
Really good. Everyone is working for each other, breathing for each other. I said it many times. Coaching staff in general, not just Mark Carrick, but also the staff that he has decided, they're unbelievable. Working on individual so much that you can see them out on the pitch. Because in the end, to win so many games and secure so many points, it's made out of details, and that's how we get all these points.
Your run, there's a bit where you make your run and you're really signalling where you want the pass to be made. When you work on your relationship with Cunha and Bruno and everyone else?
No, we're understanding each other. There is, a lot in the training. We are working a lot. We are doing patterns and stuff, and but this is also the way Brian made a pass was just because he saw that I was running. He saw that I wanted that ball, and obviously with his quality to make a perfect pass, because it's also not easy to do that, to put it directly there. And that's what's about, having such a quality in the team.
And to finish first time?
No, it's good. Obviously it looks so easy, but it's like, because you have so much time, many things can go in your mind. But yeah, I chose for one corner and I went fully for that.
You can hear the enthusiasm, Carl, in what he's having to say there. And you mentioned it before, but that spark when you talk about the finish, really interesting line about wanting pressure, needing pressure as well.
Yeah. It reminded me of that line from Alan Shearer from the last Euros, pressures from tyres. And that you just got to get on with it when you play for Manchester United. Andy, you said being a United striker is the most scrutinised role in world football. You also said, I think it's being the United goalie and being the United striker, two of the most heavily scrutinised roles. And right now, and what we saw last night, you got two individuals who are young, on the age of 25, but both going, I know this all eyes on me. I know people are going to criticise me if I make any blunders.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do all the work I need to do behind the scenes, on the training ground, with the coaches. So when the time comes, and the moment's there, and the floodlights are bright and the chips are down, I'm not going to goof.
There's one word he said last night when he was talking to us.
Prolific.
No, mentally, he said.
Yeah.
And I was just really caught by that. It was like, one of the journalists asked him about his preparation, what he was doing. Was he doing work after training? And he's like, yeah, physical, yeah, I'm good shape. Mental. I'm like, okay. And that plays into your point of how do you deal with the scrutiny? How do you deal with the abuse when you don't win a match, when you don't play as well as some people want you to play? For a young person who's never had that level of abuse, which will come. And
the following. Do you remember when he first arrived and his social media following absolutely exploded? And it's like, I've got 1 million followers overnight, basically.
And some people it's different, and it's very hard to get your head around. People have not been in that situation. And you've got to stay grounded. And I've spoke to players historically where they're like, suddenly, whoa, I am the man. I'm going to believe what my brand new friends are telling me. You've got to be really careful.
People who get carried out of stadiums on people's shoulders, you mean?
Yes, exactly. But good. He's had a good first season, and I'm liking him, liking his goals. And Lammens was possibly the man of the match.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later because he was fantastic, wasn't he? Laurie, just on Sesko, I mean, we've talked about it on the show before, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into it with him. It's not just about what he does on the training pitch. It's about all the things that he has in his sort of repertoire to be able to deal with everything, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. The box breathing, I think when you talk about mental there, I don't exactly know how it works, but I think it's to do with, holding your breath and making sure that you are calm in the moment and visualising what you're going to do in a game. And actually, when you were talking about the goal, I was thinking back when he was about to strike it. I don't think I actually saw him score necessarily. I thought he was going to score. And he did. I was kind of already cheering before he'd actually hit the ball, which I think is kind of...
You don't watch football in away ends. It's like a massive misconception that people think you're there to watch the football.
Yeah.
You're not. You're there to have a fantastic time. And if you happen to see anything happen during the game, it's a bonus. People don't understand that who haven't been in away ends. It's got nothing to do with the game.
So how's he got all this detail then from last night? Have you watched any of it back?
I've watched the 3-minute highlights. Nothing else really did happen, did it? I was like, did I miss some stuff? But we were quite low down as well. So again, as you say, that obviously usually in press boxes you're kind of a bit more raised. And
it's about feeling it. It's not about seeing it.
Absolutely,
it's the whole atmosphere. And I remember saying, you used to go on an away trip or a final or something like that. The game's like 5% of it.
Yeah.
95% of it's just having a bloody good time with good people. And
well, the bus over was good. And then afterwards, I think your contact, whoever told you where I was, probably knows more about my night than I do. But
I had a variety of contacts telling me your whereabouts in Liverpool from all different...
Well, if they could tell me, that'd be great. Thank you.
Piece it back together.
But back to a more professional individual such as Benjamin Sesko. And actually, when you think back to his career, United obviously looked at him multiple times before he actually joined the club, when he was 16 at Domzali, for example. But an interesting point maybe is when they looked at him in 2022. And actually at that point, Sesko, I think, thought that as a 19-year-old coming to United and becoming that number 9 striker wasn't the right move for him, and he actually said no basically to United, and now waiting that moment to then develop more physically and mentally, I think it feels like the right fit for him. And again, there's obviously areas that he can improve, but it's been a pretty positive first season, I think.
And that's where I wonder, Carl, whether actually not starting him in this sequence of matches has been the perfect way to deal with him. Purely because we've talked loads in the past about putting too much pressure and too much onus on these players. Rasmus Højlund, we seem to say all the time, is expected to play every week, is expected to carry everyone's expectations. Is he ready for this? It doesn't look like he is. Whereas with Sesko, yeah, okay, we were all saying start him, get him in. Why didn't he play earlier against West Ham? But when he's having this impact on games, and he didn't seem bothered after the match. You asked him in that group about not starting games. I watched him be interviewed by several people in the tunnel after the game, all asking the same question. There didn't seem any sense from him. He was hiding it very well. If he was really, really bothered that he wants starting games, I'm sure the time will come where he feels he's ready. But actually, the way Carrick spoke about it and the way Sesko spoke about it after the game as well, it makes me wonder whether actually this is the right thing for this moment to keep him on the bench and unleash him with half an hour, 20 minutes to go, whatever's necessary.
It's interesting. I was really surprised he wasn't named in the starting lineup.
Me too.
And I was surprised he wasn't named in the starting lineup against West Ham.
Who would you start him instead of, just out of interest?
I would have dropped Cunha. So I think we've got two players in Cunha and Sesko who are very, very good at pulling something up when you're up against tired legs, tired defenders in that final 30 minutes, because they've got sort of an improvisational quality and they're really good at these sort of they've both got really powerful shots. That can be really, really helpful. So if a team is sort of retreating further to their own goal, you can put one of these lads on, and if the ball's spinning around the edge of your box, I trust either one of them to really, really hit it. So I thought maybe drop Cunha. Now, the change was for Ahmad in Mbeumo moving over to right-hand side. I think
it works as well, doesn't it?
It really worked, not just in Sesko being the focal point, but also in moving Mbeumo to the right-hand side, because I think Ahmad's in a little state of flux there too. I think there is merit in this sort of, whatever is going on between the coaching staff and Sesko, they've come to an agreement about this role he's got. Yeah. It seems to be very, very clear what this role is. And
it's about giving him the space, I think, as well, to develop mentally, but also develop his game and improve his game, because he's not been perfect this season, has he? We've watched him at times and sort of grimaced at some of the detail occasionally with him. So I think actually sort of removing the pressure maybe a little bit, which unquestionably has been done with not starting him, and just bringing him into the games to have the impact on the matches. And he's grabbing it with both hands. That's the other thing. He's absolutely relishing this role. The really important goals that he's scoring, they're not the third in a 3-0 win. They are match-winning goals, aren't they?
Absolutely. 10 more minutes compared to West Ham, as Andy pointed out. And if you're watching this and you know your basketball, I think there's also some tactical reasons for it. So in basketball, they say you give someone a different look. So you spend like a first half and the defense gets used to playing, or the opposition's defense gets used to playing in a certain way because you're playing a certain way. And then you bring on a different player who offers something different. And Sesko being your centre forward is very, very different to what Mbeumo offers as a centre forward. So if you're Tarkowski, if you're Keane, if you're used to Mbeumo doing certain things and sort of dropping deep and trying to connect play, and you get, okay, I'm comfortable to this, and all of a sudden there's a 6'5" Slovenian who can
running in behind as well,
and he's not afterburners.
Yeah.
I really love the authoritative way he's going. Top speed, arm out there, point it there.
It was that moment when he first set off as well, when he could see this is a chance.
Yes.
You know, when you can see it as a fan maybe, or in the press box, and he obviously, obviously the most important thing is that the players on the pitch recognise that it's a chance. But
Did you see it in the away?
I saw it. I was saying, go on, give it him. But I admit I didn't see him set off at that speed.
No one
I had
did.
to rewatch it this morning to see.
So I've spoken to one thing I've always wanted to do with Mark Carey and our data team is I just want to do a piece on near post runs. I've spoken about this before. I'm a sucker for near post runs. It's one of the reasons why I always love Danny Welbeck. But I think if you're a striker and you make a near post run, you're never going to go hungry. You're always going to have a place in the Premier League. So Mark Carey did a data piece for it, and I've every now and again, if I ever get opportunity to speak to strikers from various levels, I just go, what goes into making a near post run? I've spoken to former academy graduates at United, and they go, very often they talk to a winger, and they go, how do you like to make your pass? How do you like to, what's your normal thing for when you cross it? Do this, do this, do this. I've spoken to other strikers, and they go, no. I make the run, and that tells the winger, that tells the wide player where they have to put the ball. And it's always this sort of, it depends on the quality of the striker sometimes. It depends on the winger out there, and it also depends on the relationship they have. So when you get a striker in a moment like Sesko, who can demand the ball with that sort of authority, put it there, I'm going to get there, and it's 4 or 5 yards ahead of where they do. And you've got a player like Mbeumo, who's just all about efficiency, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to get it there, and you're going to be able to hit the ball first time on your stronger foot. And you're right, Laurie, you don't necessarily need to watch it. Because when you see those two players run at top speed, you go, right? And Roy Keane said there were times when Ruud van Nistelrooy was through on goal and he went, goal. And he hadn't necessarily felt that with other United strikers in the last 2 or 3 seasons. And I don't want to denigrate some of the players who are on loan or no longer here, but that goal was just, there was a confidence in the build-up to that goal that you don't get last season. And that's good. That's going to be the difference between... I don't want to think
Go on,
about
say it.
too much.
You said before when we said, did you expect Sesko to start? You were very certain, no.
I didn't, because I don't think with a huge lead up into games that Michael Carrick is going to change a winning formula. And it's worked for him so far. So that was just...
Hadn't won at West Ham, though.
That's my hunch. Hadn't won at West Ham, but 4 wins out of 5. I think
generally.
Yeah, I think generally. And I wouldn't be surprised if... He goes with the same team again against Crystal Palace.
Hope Glasner's not watching.
I hope Glasner's not watching.
Stop leaking team news, you.
But the thing is, Glasner, right? I might be double bluffing here.
Okay. There we go.
So I think if a player's injured, it keeps them all on the toes as well. And to credit the lads who did start, they are a handful for defenders. You're saying that Sesko offers something different, absolutely, but so do the other lads who are full of running. They can make those runs behind as well. They're switching positions. United have still, even though they're using the same set lineup, are still making tweaks within it. Maguire, obviously, last night switching sides because...
When was the last time he played on the left side of a back four? He won't have done that for a long time.
In a while.
No.
Ten Hag probably.
Did really well.
In fact, I don't think Ten Hag liked him on the left side of his defence either.
He was talking about orientations.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Having left-footed.
It'd be a while since he's done that.
So Michael Carrick's got a luxury, and that's what it is, of so few games. Huge lead into matches.
I don't know if it benefited them last night. I thought, if anything, they looked a bit off it in the first half because they'd had such a long break.
30, just past the half-hour mark, Fernandes has the ball, right channel, and he's doing that look that your mate does in Power League, where you're all a bit knackered and no one's moving. And he's got his arm out like, where's my options? Where's my options?
There was a lot of that in the first half.
And he was really... So he like
it was just Dallo every time, wasn't it? They just kept giving it to Dallo and Yoro on the right-hand side.
No options. And he sort of spins round, loses the ball, and he starts getting angry. And it's the Fernandes from 2021. You know, that sort of... the whingy Fernandes.
I'm gonna have to do this all on my own.
Yes,
then. Yeah.
Yes, and you get and the just before, as we go into injury time, the first half, where the ball comes out and he like skies it over the bench, over Pickford's goal, and he spins round to Darren England, the referee, and he's like, "It's a corner, it's a corner, it's a corner." And you're like, "Oh no, this is it." You're whinging now. You're getting really mardy now. You're going, "We've gone back to the old
It was poor. It was a poor first half. And I don't think we're that far away from people going, this Manchester United still need major improvements. If United wouldn't have won Everton last night, the mood would be very different in here, because Liverpool won, although Villa didn't win and Chelsea didn't win. It feels alive to be part of this race, if you like.
They're in the top
Champions League. They're in the top four. We would have accepted that.
Ridiculous.
At the
They're in the
start
top
of,
4.
Genuinely ridiculous. Manchester United, the form team of 2026.
Yeah. And 8 points clear of Brentford in 7th. And I say that because if you're finishing in the top 6, then you're going to be playing Europa League football, which is meeting the target for this season. Everton have got the struggles. They're poor at home. I thought the fans were actually quite supportive, because there were times, more than any of us, because you go there more for work. They can be hard on their own. But cracking stadium. I'm just going to get a little bit more stadium chatting to that.
What did you make of it, Andy?
What did you all make of it?
Did you like the fortress around it? That was interesting.
I like the fact it's built very close to the city centre, by the river, that sort of iconic location.
On the river.
They
filled it in.
They filled the dock in, haven't they?
The Phil Dickinson.
Surrounded by the sort of the port and the industrial history, which made Liverpool one of the great cities. I'm amazed that they've done it. It looks like too perfect. It looks like a render, but it's bringing life to that area of North Liverpool. There's still a long way to go. Still feels a bit new. It feels like fans need to make it their own. Things need to happen there. It's a bit
new
too
blue
polished and
things
shiny.
are opening. Like you'll have an old factory or something like that that's been abandoned for 20 years, and all of a sudden you go again. There's a blue sign outside, and it's a cafe or it's a bar, and slowly but surely it's being built. But you just can't get there or get away from it other than on foot. That's the main way of
or boat.
Or boat. I mean, they should do that. They should get Everton ferries on. I said that.
I saw someone land in
on.
a helicopter yesterday. I think
that's
it was like
drastic,
Everton's owners. I don't know who they
I
were.
was going to say, was Jim there?
Yeah.
This is what happens when you do.
Well, I watched who got off it, and I didn't recognise them, so I think it must have been Everton's owners.
Do you think that's a bit of a lesson for United and Old Trafford? Obviously, Spurs were having issues with their stadium, even though it's fantastic.
Everton weren't having issues with their stadium until the results turned. At the start, genuinely, the start of the season, the results were good. Sort of 5 or 6 games unbeaten at the start, and everyone was so positive about it. And I was pleasantly surprised, because I know you spoke about David Moyes having concerns about, having the experience of West Ham being in it wasn't new surroundings then, was it? But they were still sort of finding their feet at London Stadium. Feels like they still are. I know he was concerned about it. And actually, they started really well, and the fans were very positive about it. And speaking to quite a few people last night, because I hadn't been for a little while either, they were sort of suggesting, well, if you don't win games, everything's a problem. Suddenly the beer's not right and the pies are overcooked. And, it's that type of thing that it fed into. Anyway, this is not about Everton. This is about Manchester United. We mentioned before about Maguire switching sides, and that was because Lisandro Martinez was injured. You had the story before the game about him picking up a car.
This is the funniest paternity leave of all time.
He's
in the away end. He's breaking stories. He's doing podcasts. Right? When do you actually go on a break?
This isn't work though, is it? I mean, it is. But when you talk about Man United,
breaking exclusives.
Bosses, please don't listen to what I just said there. But when you're talking about football, Man United with your mates,
so you don't need paying them.
I don't know. I've got a mortgage.
I am grateful for your continued work throughout this paternity leave.
Well, can I just give a hat tip to Mark Critchley, who, the fifth Beatle, who obviously got the story really, a little bit of an assist. I was like the assist. Who gave the ball to Cunha before Sesko's goal last night?
Well, no, but Mbumo got the assist.
Yeah.
Cunha got the pre-assist.
lovely
But that was too much. That was a good pass. I didn't really do that for the story.
I think it was a header away.
Was it Maguire?
Maybe.
Probably
Okay,
Maguire.
back to the topic that we were asking about. Okay.
That would be nice, yeah, please.
Yeah. So Lisandro Martinez injured. Surprise, right? Because he's just he's come back from an injury and playing well. And so it was a bit of a concern, I think, really, from United point of view, thinking, okay, him and Maguire have got a pretty good thing going, but a clean sheet is a big factor. I know we can perhaps talk about Lammens again later, but
we need to do it properly.
Key point, yeah. But Maguire shifting across is an interesting move, because I wondered, would he just slot Heaven in there, because you've got a left-footed player there who can pass it like Martinez does, and that was a key part, I think, of the improvement in recent games.
I wonder why the first half at times was difficult as well, because they missed his ability to break the lines in the build-up.
It's just different angle, isn't it, to get passes away.
Different angle, different different way to progress the ball. So when you have Martinez, he's dropping from deep and he's pinging it left foot, and it's crisp, it's direct, it's onto stronger foot, it's getting into towards that halfway line.
It's quicker as well, isn't it?
Yes. Whereas when it's Maguire is more of a ball carrier. He tends to shuttle over, and I felt around the 15-minute mark, Casemiro sort of looked around and went, "This isn't happening the way it needs to happen." So he starts dropping deeper between the two centre backs to pick it up. But again, he's right-footed, and he's very much about long passes, a bit more chip passes, whereas Martinez is down the ground. There is no centre, to my mind, there is no centre back in the Premier League as good at getting the ball from your penalty area to the halfway line like Martinez. I know people criticise his height and say he's not good in certain things, but in that one particular thing he does, ball progression, it's among the best in the league. And it's so important to how United break down not just deep defences, but any defence really. Because when you've got players like Casemiro, when you've got players like Bruno Fernandes, it means your team is always going to want to play fast. So when the ball is coming slowly, that's when you can feel that sort of tension with Fernandes and Casemiro going, no, I need it quicker. And then all the forwards ahead are going, I need it quicker too. And they have to check back runs and do everything. So it was a stodgy first half, and I believe a lot of that is to do with the fact that Martinez wasn't there, and also the fact that this left-hand side is getting
You need work.
It's shortening and narrowing. I think you really need a left footer out there just to get some chalk in your boots.
So that's why I thought maybe Heaven would go straight in, but I think after Yoro's performance against West Ham off the bench, I think he kind of had to honour that. So it'd be interesting if, so we think, United hope that Martinez is like 1 to 2 weeks. There might be a suggestion that it's a bit longer than that, but so we'll see, I suppose. But equally, that's going to be Crystal Palace. Will he persist with Yoro and Maguire? Maybe he will. They've got a clean sheet, right? But I agree. I think there's maybe improvements to be made there.
Somehow we've got through this amount of time without talking about Senne Lammens, who had an absolutely brilliant performance last night. It was the type of performance where he had to get attention, because actually his game, his character, the way he's been so far at Manchester United, he's been quite happy just to go under the radar a little bit and just be steady and solid and the rock, as he says, behind the defence. But last night he really stood up and stood out, didn't he?
Looking like a bargain here. And hat tip to the recruitment for getting him. We've criticised when players have not worked out, but he's looking like an absolute steal. And I think at one point last night, Everton had 10 corners and Manchester United had not had one.
That's what it finished. 9 in the second half alone. Everton.
Yeah, and United had one right towards the end.
Yeah.
And he looked so comfortable. And with respect to Andre Onana, I didn't feel that when he was in goal on set pieces. I thought Everton's best chance of scoring was always going to come from a set piece. And the defenders in front of him absolutely deserve the credit for. And even Kobbie Mainoo, I thought, defensively was very good.
Oh, they were all wrestling, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
And all tagging in and out, weren't they?
He's posted that, hasn't he, Kobbie?
Kobbie's posted, yeah.
His Instagram story.
Royal Rumble. You like that, didn't you, Carl?
He compared Everton's corner kick to the Royal Rumble, where you've just got 30 men in a ring and it's all tussling. I mean, we can go back to our pre-season podcast, and I said one big thing I was looking forward to or wanted from United is I want them to be nasty on these set pieces.
You want a rock bottom at a corner, don't you?
I want something.
Pedigree?
Yeah, all of them.
Tombstone?
RKOs, cutters.
Any idea what they're talking about, Andy?
I've not. The kids of today.
The kids.
I thought Lammens was probably the man of the match, him or Maguire.
He won man of the match.
He won man of the match. Yeah. But on the final whistle, I tweeted that was my opinion, but I don't give the official man of the match awards.
Do not know.
It was my own opinion. I thought his saves looked good. They looked more spectacular than they were. I think there was a free kick from James Garner from distance. I thought Garner was excellent, by the way, and I thought he had the measure of Cunha. Even though Garner was playing out of position.
Had a little set to those two, didn't they?
Well,
right
I'm sure them two will have a word for whatever that they're going to call that set to. But comfortable, clean sheet. United conceded too many goals in the first part of this
away
season.
Clean sheet of the season.
Really?
Comfortable?
Okay.
Would you call that comfortable?
Really? It wasn't. I didn't think Everton were going to score.
Yeah.
There wasn't a clear-cut chance.
Tell me more.
I felt that no matter how hard they huffed and puffed, I didn't feel as uneasy in the last 10 minutes as watching, for example, Newcastle United at Old Trafford.
Okay.
I just didn't. That was how I felt. I felt that Harry Maguire was winning everything. Yoro had the game he needed because there's been mistakes in him. So he did well. I felt Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot were better, much better defensively, although Dalot probably had as many shots as most of the forwards. But no, and maybe that's because I'm growing in confidence of Manchester United.
So this was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
This sort of confidence and comfort now you're feeling in games. How long is that?
Recent.
Has that been growing the longer Carrick's in charge?
Little by little, maybe 5% per game. And maybe I know that Everton are struggling, and Everton are struggling to score, and Everton cannot spend £200 million on players like Manchester United did. They cannot get that calibre of player, or at least buy them. They did buy Jack Grealish. They did loan him, and he is that calibre of player, but he was missing. They were missing a couple of key players. So I didn't feel there's a goal in Everton here. Like I don't know, maybe if it was Brighton or somebody like that. I'm just building up all this layers of evidence watching Manchester United.
I'd say the last 20 months, so even reaching back in towards the end of Ten Hag, it felt like there were so many games like this where United, it's been a bad performance. United get a goal, and then part of me is always going, where's the punchline?
But
where is
that's
the
because
punchline?
they've conceded.
Yeah, where is the annoying...
I just said it a moment ago, first away clean sheet of the season.
And
that's why you feel like that.
Since when? Leicester last season?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, March.
Probably, yeah.
Almost a year.
Goodness. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
I mean, they kept one at Athletic Club, did they, in the Europa League, which might have been just after, but Premier League, that probably is the last one. I'd have to check it, but
So you've got Lammens saves from the free kick. There's the one where he sort of stretches every sinew to stop Michael Keane, and then there's the one in 92nd minute with Tyreek George. Now that one was one where it was so straightforward. I went, oh, like I even made a little comment. Okay, yeah, right. 92nd minute. They weren't saving the worst till last. Like this is just cracking on. There are saves now where Lammens is just in the right place. He doesn't have to make too many alterations with his movement because he's just been following the run. He's following things before. I think it's also really. I mean, the game started and you have the centre circle routine goes back to him.
It was very nearly a different experience for Senne Lammens.
The thing goes back to him, and then Thurno Barry cuts out his long kick, and you have that. Oh, that was weird. Now, and again, not to denigrate players who aren't here anymore. If that was Andre Onana, you're going, oh, is that the rest of your game absolutely done now because Barry's cut you out in minute one? Whereas Lammens is just going, no, okay, put that to one side. Let's keep going. And then, I mean, the way he's just claiming these balls. Mm-hmm. Onana couldn't do that. Bayindir couldn't do that. And it was something that really aggravated me last season when you were seeing Tottenham just pack the six-yard box in the League Cup and they're scoring direct corner kicks. So you go, one, I want the defence to start clearing these people out in the 6-yard box. And also want my goalkeeper to start getting their elbows going. In fact, there's 4 high claims, according to statistics people, and there are 2 or 3 crosses as well.
That's just catching it, that's not punching it as well.
So that doesn't count the punches. Yeah, and the fact that it's not, when Lammens is going to punch it, it's not just that sort of wayward punch where the ball just goes up and then all your defenders sort of stood there going, okay, I've got to work my contact. It's authoritative. It's punching it away from danger. There's 2 or 3 saves Lammens has got now where he's parrying the ball in the save, but whereas Onana, unfortunately, would parry it back into danger, he's really getting his arms round it. It's going round the corner and out of play. It's going really, really high up and it's going behind him. And it's just those 2 or 3 extra segments, those extra layers on top of his goalkeeper performance, which, yeah, very, very thankful he's here. I feel a lot safer he's here. Credit to Tony Cotton and the goalkeeping staff for doing the work with him. I think the podcast you did with Eric Steele is phenomenal because goalkeeping is one of those positions where we're still getting loads of misconceptions about what is good or bad goalkeeping.
Yeah.
I spoke to Craig Mawson last night, the goalkeeping coach. Mm-hmm. He'd listened to the podcast.
Did he?
Yeah, he did listen to it. Yeah. He said, and he complimented me on it, so it was actually Laurie who brought it all together. So I'll pass it on to you. They're not being bullied, are they?
It's nice that Tony Coton is getting the acknowledgement and the credit for recommending him, though, isn't it?
And Jason Wilcox mentioned that in a podcasting in the United podcast. He said Tony Coton was the guy that was hammering me about
nice that he's getting the shout out for it, you know.
Tony Coton is a very tough man. Read his autobiography. You're talking about one of the hardest men in the West Midlands here when you read some of his stories, and he is of an age now that he's currently no longer an active fighter. But Lisandro Martinez would have a fight with his own shadow Harry Maguire's forged in Sheffield steel. There's a toughness there, and they're not being bullied at corners.
Yeah.
And Lammens, the Belgian, he could, I mean, read about the Battle of Liège in the First World War. He would have been right at the front of him. He's not like a shouty, arrogant, aggressive type.
Not at all.
Don't know where I'm going with this.
I have no idea where did that come from.
No, I think you stumble on an interesting point, because he is exactly the opposite of that. The sort of ranting and raving and shouting and ordering people about is not something that's naturally in him. I interviewed him last week. He was talking about, I asked him a lot of questions about his calmness. It's the one thing that everyone talks to him about now, isn't it? You know, your calmness, where does it come from? So basically, it's like a family trait. His mum and dad are very calm. He's very calm. As he's got older, he went to boarding school when he was playing football in Belgium. That settled him down. It made him a bit more introverted, a bit more quiet. And what he's found is that this is the best way to be. This is the best way to be Manchester United's goalkeeper. He basically admitted in his first answer that it had gone far better than even he anticipated. And he said a key reason for that has just been the fact that he's just carried on doing what he did before, the things that he was good at, the things that made him get attention in the first place, that made Tony Coton recognise his ability. He's just tried to focus on that, tried to be steady and calm and do the basics right and provide a platform for the team. He referenced, he said, you know, my job basically is to make sure I don't give the game away and provide a platform for Bruno Fernandes to go and win it for us, or whoever that might be. Last night, it's Benjamin Sesko. And I think it was interesting that Edwin van der Sar was on UK TV last night. It's a lovely moment where he complimented Senne on his performance, and it was a big grin to the camera. But those two, there are similarities. I think it's very early to be comparing him to van der Sar, considering how good he was and everything he won. But in terms of the temperament, and even Lammens said to me as well, he sees himself a little bit in van der Sar.
Oh, does he? Did he say that?
Compared to De Gea or Schmeichel. Yeah. And he's not a big football watcher either. He's not like he's grown up idolising goalkeepers. When I asked him, who did you look at a kid? He said, I have to be honest, you know, I didn't watch lots of football. It's been more people I've worked with, although he has spoken to Schmeichel a few times since he's been at Old Trafford. And Van der Sar, he said, yeah, watching him, it was elements of that calmness and that steadiness, really. There's just no fuss to him, is there?
Emotional regulation.
Yeah. He's like a junior doctor. Literally, he sat in the interview.
Good answer this, isn't it, from him? It's absolutely brilliant. I'm learning loads.
He sat down.
I he'd been to boarding school.
Leant back in his seat, crossed his legs, stuck his arms together, and it was just like, right, what would you like to ask me? It's almost like going into a consultation. So tell me about your problem.
Well,
you know?
If games are going frantic, Lammens is playing just his regular game. If the game is going slow, Lammens is going to keep it the same. And he doesn't feed into the chaos in ways previous goalkeepers
He's the antidote to the chaos.
Yes.
He was the antidote to those corners last night because they were chaos.
Now, on that, just quickly, I'm not just studying United players' Instagrams all morning, but he also posted a picture, I think, from one of the corners, and his emoji caption was just a load of boxing gloves. So I like the idea that he's just like, right, I'm having this, punching it.
Do you know something?
Getting rid of it.
I think it is so important to show in those moments that you can deal with it.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, that becomes automatically a target. And I spoke to James Garner. Exactly. I spoke to James Garner after the game and said, what was it about those corners? Why did you feel that you wanted to keep putting them in the same way? And he said, well, the first couple, Lammens came out, he held the first one, he punched the second, so we needed to do something about how he was getting to the ball. And he still managed to get to the ball, even despite them trying their very best to stop him.
So they carried on trying to target him, but didn't score. Everton changed your tactics.
Well, it's true, yeah. There could have been more variation,
They
took 9 corners, pretty much exactly the same once the second half.
And were dealt with pretty easily.
It might went the 10th time.
Yeah.
But on Van der Sar, you spoke to Gary Neville, didn't he, before as well, on the overlap, I think. And it's interesting. You don't want to get too over the top with that kind of comparison.
Well, Carrick was asked about it after the game. He's like, I have to be careful what I say here because we're doing what he doesn't want us to do. Yeah,
character way. But it did, this is going to sound probably ridiculous, but it did remind me a little bit of some of those games, when they had like 10 clean sheets in a row or something under Van der Sar in 08-09.
Yeah, they've had 5 all season.
Okay, great. Just the way it happened, just like that. As you say, I agree with Andy in that I never felt that Everton necessarily were going to score. I didn't feel. I thought it was going to be 0-0 or United nick it 1-0. So that kind of feeling reminded me of that time when United just would go to matches and it felt like just shut the opposition down.
It's good. The ball doesn't squirm and wriggle underneath Lammens in the way it had done previous goalkeepers. And the fact that teams are now just getting really it looks silly with the way Everton whipped in all those corners. Whereas again, under Bayern, you go, oh right, they're targeting him, they're doing this now. So yeah, key area weakness solved. On to the next one, solve the next situation, and then hopefully see where we finish at the end of the season.
Brought in as number 2, he was as well.
The whole
One season at Antwerp.
Yeah.
The whole plan was he'd get some game time when Onana. Well, I think the idea was Onana was going to be the starting goalkeeper, and then when AFCON came, he'd go away with Cameroon duty, and then it'd be Lammens giving a run.
So that was the plan. Onana would continue to be number 1 when Lammens was bought.
It very much seemed like Lammens was going to be a deputy, a number 2. And
was the plan.
He was brought in as the number 2 with a view to him becoming the long-term number 1. This season, if he would have played 3 matches, I would have thought that would have been the intention. And I think a couple of factors, Onana's form, Bayern's form, and the fact that when he came in, straight away, was it Sunderland?
Yeah.
Came out to get that first high cross.
First
And I was
clean
like,
sheet
whoa,
of the
not seen that for a few years. He just caught a ball with his hands.
Yeah.
So,
and it was a
big
month,
great for
wasn't
him.
it?
Well done.
It was a month between signing and actually going into the team, because
Yeah.
Bayern had the shirt at that point.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Isn't it nice, this?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Sat here on a Tuesday morning. I don't even think I've asked a negative question the whole time, and they were awful in the first half.
Yeah, it was awful, wasn't it? It was pretty
You are right. If they
lifeless.
didn't score that goal, it would be. Have they got the firepower?
What was it like at
Look
half
a bit
time in the
jaded.
away end?
I can't remember.
Bad question, that.
There's actually quite a few people in there. I had a few nice
Well, there would
chats.
be. It's an away end. There's 3,000 people. You know, it's sold to capacity.
Yeah, it's true, though, that it wasn't perfect, was it? But actually, in some ways, you can praise the fact that they just found a way regardless, I suppose. Because really, midfield, Casemiro, Kobe Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes, is probably the worst they've played under Michael Carrick, individually and collectively.
Bruno definitely had enough.
They were
Yeah.
definitely off colour. Casemiro lost the ball 11 times in the first half. Mainoo lost it 8.
Yeah.
I think that's a measure of...
You know, you didn't even need to give me that stat to know that it would be that, because it was so noticeable.
Surprised it was that high.
Yeah, but the ball's being lost. Also, the fact that they were having to do a little bit too much to compensate for the lack of Martinez. I think we are. I'm growing. I'm bringing it up again. I'm growing concerned about this left-hand side, because Cunha's inclination is to cut inside. Ahmad's inclination is to cut inside. And if you've got Mbeumo not pushing back that last line of defence, you can have a traffic jam in places.
That's why Patrick Dorgu was starting.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So Dorgu on the left-hand side got chalk on his boots, stretched the play, and also, crucially, because of his defensive prowess, in the times where United were a bit vulnerable and a bit loose, he was on his bike and he'd be dropping inside of Luke Shaw. So if someone went to cut inside, it'd be Shaw and it'd be Dorgu to protect that. So the left-hand side is a small concern for me that I'll probably end up writing about before Easter.
Well, they wanted Semenyo as well, didn't they? You know,
They did.
They've got Dorgu, so it is an area where Manchester United have identified.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if left back is slowly creeping up the summer hierarchy of needs. But look, that's
to bring
the summer.
Rashford back. You know, he can play on the left. That's not happening, by the way.
That's not-
Do not
that is
aggregate
not
that,
I can't
from
believe he's
happening.
thrown that one in.
It's not happening. Michael Carrick's been asked about this too, so no, that will not be happening. I think the team is in a good place, but you do need to make 2 or 3 adjustments, which I'm sure Michael Carrick, Steve Holland, Johnny Evans, Jonathan Woodgate, they're all aware of, and they're going to go, right, crack on. This is what we've got to do for Sunday.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Finding different ways to win is a really important ability. It's a bit like we're talking about with Senne Lammens, you know, dealing with the different challenges that are thrown at you and coming out of it the other side with player of the match in your hand and being complimented by Edwin van der Sar. That's exactly the way you've got to come through these tests, because slowly but surely teams will work out how this Manchester United want to play, how Michael Carrick's Manchester United are set up. And having these different abilities to win these games is what they need to do to be able to deal with that.
I do think United's goals, their strength is transition still, isn't it? It is.
Well, that's where,
counter-attacking.
you know, the development long term is going to be the same thing. It's going to be working towards controlling these matches more. But when you can play like this, when you can destroy teams on the break like that,
It's fun, isn't it? It's the best way to do it.
Yeah. It's a buzz. That was a different type of test, because Everton actually came onto United last night. I thought they came straight at United. United were losing a lot of balls, but so were they.
Mm-hmm.
And they're often, both teams were better without the ball.
well,
It was
both
scruffy.
teams are better without the
Yeah.
ball. Both teams win more games when they have less of the
Did
ball.
United have less possession last night? Yeah.
No, I don't know.
In the end.
I think
Sorry to just throw that one
No.
out there.
That's all right. Let's have a
I think
look.
there were times when United were absolutely on top, but I'm sure the last 20 minutes when Everton were never going to score.
Without looking, it feels like first half United had more of the ball, and
Yeah.
second half Everton had more of the ball.
Fair, yeah.
Well, I'll have a look now.
Imagine
see
if
what
we
it
look,
says.
it's like 82% Everton.
Well, it would be. Oh, right. Well, that would follow
No,
the
it
trend,
wasn't.
wouldn't it?
Never.
Of
Never.
48% Everton, 52%
Yeah,
so that's
United.
just
so
one
a
with more
different type of
possession, that's
test. We've seen United come up against Manchester City at home, Arsenal away. The home matches, United's home form's actually really good now. And Everton's is poor. Everton's strength is their away form.
Yeah.
Everton won at Old Trafford. There's another factor. Those players were really annoyed about
they were, weren't
what
they? Yeah.
happened.
I heard a few
when-
reference it, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. You want to take...
Normally when you ask people about revenge, they've like come away from it completely. But I mean, Lammens, again, in the interview last week, brought it up himself. So I'm a bit stung by that
Yeah.
result at home.
Yeah, and 10 games unbeaten now in the Premier
Yeah.
League. It's a long time, isn't it? It's been a while since we've been able to say this. The buzz is lovely, isn't it, when your football team's winning? And just enjoy it.
Where are they
'cause
finishing, Andy?
It's the hardest thing.
Villa were looking,
You've asked me
you know,
since I was...
Catchable.
Someone asked me to locate you last night in Liverpool.
I thought it'd be easy to locate him considering the number of people who got in touch.
It's like a...
Is that Laurie or is it a doppelganger? No, mate, it's definitely Laurie.
Laurie's
yeah.
heat map around Liverpool. It was like, this bar owner got in touch with me and said, you don't know me, mate, but
My ex-pints.
your mate Laurie as appears I'm the only bar in Liverpool he's not been in tonight. Could you send him my way? I'm a big listener. Where are we finishing? A nervous fourth. I'll get slated for this. I'd still accept the Euro.
Really?
No.
Oh, come on.
No, you're
Andy.
right. Lovely at the weekend when Burnley got the late equaliser, when Villa failed to win.
Thought Liverpool were going the same way.
I
as well.
know.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that one. I read about it the next day, and it
They got
seemed
All you
battered
needed
in
to
the
watch
first
was the last
half,
5
yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. It's an hard one, isn't it?
So you're thinking Champions League now?
I'm thinking.
They're going to do it. Come on.
I'm thinking 60% chance of Champions League qualification.
I think it has to be the target now. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
agree.
you can like
Yeah, I don't think we
target the
should.
Europa League now.
No, you're not going to Palace at the weekend and going, right, if I had a win against Liverpool, we're just going to piss about today. You know, you've got to try and win everything. It's looking good. It's looking really good. Never, ever would have foreseen 16 points out of 18 from Michael Carrick's first 6 matches. And don't know where this leads to, but he has done exceptionally well.
Right, I'm not having you just being put on the spot. Carl, Laurie, where are they finishing?
Third.
Third?
Yeah,
Wow.
can
Villa aren't very good, are they?
Well, they beat us, but we played well in
we
that
were
game.
better than them that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to play them at Old Trafford.
I know, sorry,
3
that's a
points
bit
behind at the moment.
That's
yeah?
a bit facetious. I just mean that they're they're getting points.
They're third in the league.
I know they are good. Okay, fine. And Unai Emery's a very good manager, but
Look how quickly you've crumbled here.
I've just realised they're probably.
Look how quickly you've crumbled. This is amazing.
I've just gone-
We need to get you when you're in this state more often.
I know.
Loads of rubbish on his cake. Dead Laurie Whitwell, right? He used to be on this patch.
I
And
know.
we
I
looked
used to
after
cover
him.
him, didn't I? No, I should have a
Where are
soft
they
spot for him. Yeah.
Just a bit near Birmingham.
Birmingham. I just think that they're squeaking through games, aren't they? But fine, okay.
Did you watch last night?
What, United?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine.
I would pay
Be
good
great if
money.
you finished third. I'm all for it, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
it was
could-
brilliant.
Go for it.
I would pay good money to have video surveillance of his entire day yesterday from the minute he got on the bus to
distract it.
Liverpool.
Carl's having an inner battle here.
Well, I said if they finish higher than 8th, I'd be really surprised. I am going to be really surprised at how this season ends. So I want to say 5th. I'm going to say 5th.
Really?
5th is on.
Well, in some ways, fifth's fine. They
Fifth's
get in the
fine.
Champions
Fifth's
League.
fine.
Should do,
If,
yeah.
if
Fifth
the
will get-
season's going the way it's
Yeah.
going for the teams in Europe,
Yep.
the coefficient will be strong enough.
Yep, so I think they're going to finish
fifth for
5th.
the Champions League.
Injuries to Martinez and Dorgu have me
Yeah,
a little
okay,
bit
fair
concerned. But the momentum's there. The run is there.
So who do you
Go
think?
for
You think
it.
Liverpool come
I'm
past?
not getting drawn into all that other stuff. United finishes.
It's an hard one to answer, though, isn't it? Liverpool are bad, but keep getting wins.
That's what I
Chelsea look world beaters one week, and then I think Villa could fall away. If they get into the Champions League, the financial implications are pretty serious.
Another factor is all these teams have got other competitions to play,
They
and
have.
Manchester United haven't.
Yeah.
The only thing last night I did think in that first half was it looked for the first time properly. I mean, there's probably been other moments this season, but it was properly on my mind that they looked a bit rusty, actually, from having the 13-day break and being away and all that sort of stuff.
It wasn't quite that. I said Bruno earlier, didn't I? I could see why he was the one taken off, and usually against. I know you said that Evan came out, but there was moments.
There's a makeshift left back, Jared Branthwaite. He's not been playing there. Mikolenko's been playing there. So anyway, yeah, that was the one thought, and they're not going to play a lot of football over the next month, 6 weeks, considering the breaks. But who cares for the moment? It's in the top 4, they're winning. That's it.
Yeah. All good.
Let's leave it there. All good, Andy Mitten says. Laurie, well done. You got through it. I'm going for a nap now.
Yep.
Carl, thank you. Laurie, thank you. Andy, thank you as well. And of course, thanks for watching and listening along. Oh, thank you. If you've got any comments or anything you want us to discuss ahead of the Crystal Palace game, I didn't get many of your emails in, but thank you as always for everyone getting in touch. devilspod@theathletic.com if you want to join the conversation and put a question to any of these. We'll be back before that Palace game later on in the week. We'll speak to you then. Enjoy it. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching this episode of Talk the Devils. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you've not done already. Like the video and also get involved in the comments too. And click the bell to make sure that you never miss an episode with myself, Andy Mitten, Carl Anker and Laurie Whitwell. There's also our social channels @TOT Devils on Instagram, X and TikTok. Thanks for watching.